Good day, Ma'am Karen. This report about global citizenship is made by Micah Maureen Hosmillo. Before we go on with our task for session 17, let us first discuss what global citizenship is. Nowadays, people are hardly limited by borders. In this borderless world, we have become more dependent upon each other. This interdependency asks for global citizens. But, what is a global citizen? A global citizen is someone who is aware of, and understands the wider world, and their place in it. They take an active role in their community, and work with others to make our planet more equal, fair and sustainable. But what does society expect from us, and what are we willing to do? Different theories hold different views on those expectations. There are 4 theories that suggests the values of good citizenship. The first one is the liberal citizenship theory. It focuses on individual rights of citizens and the importance of individual freedom. Citizens are expected to pay taxes and respect the law, and that's about it. Following the communitarist citizenship theory, the focus is not on individual goals but on the collective. Citizens are expected to actively participate in social and cultural community. The focal point of the Republican citizenship theory is political community. It revolves around democratic values. Citizens are expected to be involved in public debate or at least commit political community. The neo-Republican theory is all about diversity. Citizens are expected to participate in public debate but also to be reasonable and respect diversity. Now, what is expected from global citizens? Participation is key. Daily behavior can contribute to solve social and environmental issues, not only on a local scale but also on a global scale. By choosing the way we consume or the way we move around, or even just by posting through social media, we have an impact on global issues like international human rights and climate change.
Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Small help for our fellow Filipinos.
It is our responsibility to our community to help in the way that we can. It may be small for us, but for the people who really needs it, it might be a blessing or a lifesaver, especially in this pandemic. People like her is a good example of a global citizen. She cares not only for herself, but she goes out of her way to help other people. We can also help in small ways during this pandemic. We can donate extra money, food or clothes if we already have enough. We need more of helpful citizens and less of selfish individuals in this world.
The QCDRRMO decontamination team received their PPEs on Friday the 17th of April. The PPE is in compliance with the DOH decontamination procedures in LGUs. The PPE is made of nylon similar to the material used in umbrellas.
This post is a representation of a political organization and their activities. It is important for our government to show us what they are accomplishing through different forms of media. It is a reflection of their effectiveness as a political figure. This helps the citizens to be aware of the efforts the government is doing during this pandemic. It is really good to see that the government is providing PPEs to the frontliners like the decontamination team who risk their lives and safety for ours.
The spread of the virus is getting slower. Our ECQ and other medical interventions are working. From 50 cases, it doubled within 4 days. From 100, it took 12 days before it doubled. From 200, it has been half a month, and it still hasn't doubled yet.
In this post, LGU is showing through social media how important ECQ is. with some people not realizing the real benefits of ECQ in slowing down the rate of the spread of the virus. It is important for the government to delegate information to all platforms. It is in order to reach every type of citizen of every age. Since some teenagers are not fond of watching the news anymore, it is a good way to reach them through social media. This post not only shows the effectiveness of ECQ but also the effectiveness of the local government in enforcing laws and regulations, and it also shows that the government gives the people enough help so they won't be forced to go out of their houses just to earn money.
Did any of the government officials think of the status of the OFWs in this pandemic? They are no work no pay basis, and needs to pay the bills abroad and send money here. Then the families of OFWs here in Philippines didn't receive any aid. Because why? We're not qualified. Please have a little empathy. #PhilHealthOFW.
As a democratic country, it is our right to have an opinion on economic affairs of our country. Sometimes the government becomes overwhelmed of how many people they need to help. Being vocal of our needs, especially on economic affairs, is crucial for the government to be effective. Since this pandemic is happening across the globe, OFWs are also affected by it. They also follow quarantine rules and some of them are not given a salary. It is important for the government to know these information and decide who really needs the money.
I stand those people behind the video that used their voice to fight for our human rights.
Hindi dapat yung ganyan eh. Hindi dapat ganyan. Parang huwag niyo konsintihin. Hindi namin kinukonsinte. Masama bang kumana, ano? Lahat tayo, we have all the rights. Hindi bawal ang kumuha. Pero you're abusing your power. Hindi niyo dapat gulpihin ng isang tao. Ando na po tayo, pero pagtulungan niyo na lang, italiin. Italiin niyo ang paa. Italiin niyo ang paa at saka kamay. Hindi niyo po pwedeng bugbugin. Binubugbog ninyo. Mali! Mali! Mali yan! You're abusing your power! Mali! Itali ninyo kahit parang baboy! Pero wala kayo karapatang manakit! Hindi kami nakikipagtalo! Nasa right kayo!
In the video, the woman behind the camera is fighting for the right of a person she doesn't even know. She was brave enough to face the government workers and tell them that they are violating the human right of the victim. We, as citizens, should know our rights so we could fight not only for ourselves but for the people around us. She is a good example of a global citizen, because not only she was brave enough to shout at the public officials, but she was also smart enough to record the event and get the help the victim needed from authorities, after she reported the scenario. With this, the government would realize that they should not be hard on people who just wants to survive. Some people risk their lives to go out even though they don't want to, because they need to feed their families and they are not getting enough help from the government.
If the government is in the wrong, it is our obligation as citizens to voice out. Even though we might hurt their feelings, even though we're viewed as toxic. Staying positive isn't always the answer. We wouldn't have the freedom we have right now, if not for those who dissented before us.
Shutting up from things happening around you that you know is wrong is being apathetic to your community. It is our obligation to voice out the needs of our citizens. Especially, if we know we can influence other people. It is our job, as the people who voted and put government officials to where they are today, to tell them if they're doing something wrong. And as government officials, they need to treat our opinions as constructive criticisms and stop personalizing everything that the citizens say. We have to know that speaking out is a power. It is not nagging, rather it is our obligation. In sum, the global dimension of citizenship is manifested in the behavior that does justice to the principles of mutual dependency in the world, equality of human beings, and the shared responsibility for solving global issues. Especially in this time of a pandemic, small steps make a difference when we do it together. One human can make a difference. Globalization makes all the countries dependent upon each other. It is the reason why our world needs global citizens. Thanks technological advancement, we can now voice out our rights in small ways, but these small ways can create big impacts. Even just through social media, we can be helpful global citizens. We are all global citizens and we should care for our community and the entire globe.